Hi, welcome to Senior Moment. This is Mary Beals-Lutka, your host. We are here at the Sharlot Hall in front of the Governor's Mansion with a very special person from our Prescott area, Melissa Ruffner. Welcome, Melissa.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm pleased to be here.
Now, Melissa, you have so many titles. I'd like to start out with one of them is the owner and operator of the Prescott Historical Tours.
That's true. That's true. I've been walking the streets of Prescott since 1981.
Wow.
Yes. In 2011, that's what, 30 years?
30 years,
yep.
Walking the streets
Lots
of
history.
Prescott.
Exactly.
Lots of history.
Lots of history.
And that's why we're here today, because you had a brainchild, and you're going to let us know all about that, and the first ever Arizona Living History celebration. But you're also known as an educator and a historian, and you're doing some collaboration with Yavapai College.
Absolutely, absolutely. We sort of had a brainchild together, having taught history before through Yavapai College. They called me, Dennis Garvey called me up one day from the Continuing Education Office and said, what do you think about doing some kind of a living history celebration on campus? And so I called up all my friends who were involved in historic preservation, reenacting, members of different organizations like the Victorian Society, and say, you know, what do you think about participating? Making history, literally, because this is the very first one we've ever done on campus.
That is so exciting. And what day is it? August 2nd?
Saturday, August 2nd. From 8 a.m. There'll be a talk every 45 minutes with 15 minutes of question and answer, 15 minutes to get to your next talk. You have at least 2 subjects to choose from every hour. And it'll go on. The last talk is 4:30 in the afternoon. So it's going to be a huge day.
So you've also written several books, so your background in history is rich. And
yes.
You have a couple of books that you've written, and I'm sure that's helping you put this together.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Actually, my family came here in 1867, and so I've kind of grown up with the area's history. And, you know, I just love to share it with people. And there's so many people, it's amazing how many people there are in this community and in this area that are involved. And maybe they just got here 5 years ago, but they love the history of the area. You know, the building we're sitting in front of is on its original location. This was the Governor's Mansion. This was the seat of territorial government in Arizona. So what better place to gather people, and what better venue than Yavapai College in the library and around the library in the little commons area there. We're just going to have things going on all day long, and it will really be a spectacular opportunity, whether you've been here a long, long time or whether you've just, you know, came last week. It'll be a fabulous opportunity to have a whole bunch of people together who all love history and who all love to share it. Miss Sharlot Hall, Jody Drake from the Blue Rose Theater here at Sharlot Hall Museum will be presenting. John Langelier, the director of Sharlot Hall Museum and an expert on the U.S. military in the West, is presenting. I mean, we have some really top-notch people who, basically, I begged, you know. I just said, please, please.
You called in some favors.
I did. And I said, you know, guys, we got to do this. And literally, one of the most exciting aspects is that we are literally making history. This is the first time. It's been done many times before in other venues. Sharlot Hall Museum, of course, has the Folk Arts Festival, and you know, the historical reenactors. The Prescott Regulators have the gunfight on Whiskey Row in July, and all of these kinds of things going on. But this is the very first time that part of what was the Fort Whipple Military Reservation many, many years ago is today being retransformed from a community college that serves the community in the area to a place where all of these historic folks are going to be gathering together.
I was looking at the agenda for the day.
Yes, isn't it exciting? There's some cool stuff here.
There is some really cool stuff here, and it's very exciting, like you said, that it's in this venue. I think a lot of people are drawn to Prescott because of its history.
Oh, we were the first and third territorial capital. I mean, when people arrived here, well, maybe not when the miners arrived here, because when the politicians showed up, they weren't all that thrilled, you know. That meant civilization had arrived, and that wasn't a good thing, perhaps, as far as the miners were concerned. But from the day that the politicians came here and created this as a territorial capital. And Prescott is unique in the history of the United States in that it is the only territorial capital created where there was no town. There wasn't even a road into this place. This had to be a politician's dream because there was nobody to say, well, you know, we've always done it this way, you know. They could basically start from scratch and create this thing. And so they kept fabulous records. And the other person who was so important in that mix was Miss Sharlot Hall, who my grandparents knew. And she was very important because she collected everything that anybody ever gave her. She had no idea what to sort out, what to keep, and what to give away, and so she kept it all. And the museum really today is still sort of processing the things that she has left behind as our historical legacy. And so, you know, she saved a lot of the history for us as well. And so people are really plugged into that, and it's really exciting to be part of that.
You know, and just mentioning some of the things that you've just told me, you know, I've lived in northern Arizona for 24 years, and I'm learning just from listening to you.
Thank you.
There's so many things that I don't know, and I thought I was a history buff, so I have a lot more to learn. And it sounds like an exciting day.
Yes.
You're going to start out the morning with a song and a blessing.
Yes, residents or representatives of the Yavapai Prescott tribe who are very, very involved in this community. I don't know if you have visited their website, but the list, the full page list of on the donations they have made very quietly in the community and that kind of thing, and you know the other activities that they're involved with within their own tribe and within our community. We had to ask them to participate, and they will be sending representatives to just sort of at some point in the morning kick it off and bless the day. As you know, the reason Yavapai College is there is because their leader, Viola Jamula, kept land that had been offered to the Yavapai tribe in trust. Instead of keeping it for her people, she transferred it to the citizens of Prescott because she said only through education would the red man and the white man ever learn to understand each other. And so we kind of feel like her people, her family should come and give us their blessings for this very first ever occasion that the college is sponsoring.
Yes, it's particularly because the college is sponsoring
yes,
it.
Yes, absolutely.
Another story I did not know. And then Victorian weddings, I think that sounds like fun. I have to get up for that. That starts at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, now these are not necessarily in the order that we're going to do them. That may change. I haven't actually given a final list yet to the college, but that day, as you check in, you need to register first. We will have somebody to register people there the day of, but they need to check in, and we'll give them a list, and then they can see what's happening and choose which room they want to go to listen to the talk and so forth. But Maxine Delahunty is going to actually be doing double duty that day with both Pioneer Medicine and the DVD of the Victorian wedding, as well as, you know, she was the narrator at the Elks for 2 years, I believe, doing the Victorian wedding. So we will not have the full regalia there, but we will have many of the same accoutrements, if you will. And that's going to be a very important part of, you know, the presentation. And then we're having, as you can see on our list here, we have early theater in Territorial Prescott. A lot of the early productions were done at Fort Whipple, and many of the men played the women's parts because it was unseemly for a woman to act on stage. And so Mrs. General George Crook, which is how she was always known. She wasn't Mrs. Crook, she was Mrs. General George Crook, was very, very interested and very instrumental, as were other people of her status in getting early theater beginning. And then, of course, we ended up with opera halls in Prescott and the Elks Opera House, which we use today. I'm part of the pre-show for the Arizona Review there, where we also promote this a special event coming up on August 2nd. So that's one of the presentations. Zane Gray's Arizona Connection. Todd Newport is the president of the Zane Grey Association in Arizona and an expert on Zane Grey. And you know, he met many people like the Babbitts in northern Arizona who said, oh, you should go over there. There's an interesting guy at Sunset Crossing that you should talk to. And many of those people that he was introduced to through many of the old pioneer families showed up in Zane Grey's books. And it really, it captures Arizona. Not only does it capture Arizona in a time and place, but it also was what many people in the East read that drew them out here. And so Zane Grey's Arizona connection is really interesting too. Arizona's territorial capitals. We have a lady, Alice Duckworth, coming up from the Territorial Capitol Museum in Phoenix, who's going to tell us about all the places that have been the territorial capital. You know, it went back and forth and back and forth. It was Prescott, then it was Tucson, then we got it back because Tucson got the right to have the charter university, and Phoenix got the third political plum, the insane asylum, which editors commented in both the Tucson and Prescott newspapers could pretty much be a cottage industry because you had to be crazy to live in Phoenix in the first place. There was a lot of political rivalry going on, and finally, as a compromise, it went to Phoenix. But she'll be coming up from Phoenix to tell us about that colorful history as well.
That'll be fascinating, and colorful it is.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It seems like every aspect that you're talking about, be it the Victorian weddings or Zane Grey, or it's all very colorful. And again, I think that's what draws a lot of us here, and this will be a nice way to learn more about it. And I'm really interested in the pioneer medicine piece, and you said that she was going to be doing both presentations.
Yes. We'll have both of those presentations.
What is her background in pioneer medicine?
You know, I'm not sure. Maxine's been a student of mine in Prescott history, but she has just sort of been a self-taught person as far as pioneer medicine goes. And there were so many things. You know, Native people, Native American Indians, came up with many remedies that we even use today, although we may have now chemically recreated some of those. Willow bark was the original aspirin. And so there are many, you know, cobwebs were often used to stop bleeding, not tremendous bleeding, but a little bit of bleeding. The one thing that I have noticed when I wrote the Arizona Territorial Sampler, Food and Lifestyles of a Frontier, I noticed that virtually every home remedy had a fairly large dose of alcohol prior to the application.
For medicinal reasons.
So, you know, at that point it was like, oh well. and actually, George Demetrius Kendall, who was mustered out of the military at Fort Whipple and went to work, opened a pharmacy, a drugstore actually in Prescott, once put in the local newspaper that he had just received 1,000 pounds of goods, meaning medicines, in his line and was now prepared to kill or cure on short notice. So it should be a pretty interesting talk as well.
I'm looking forward to that one. I'm going to see that one.
Now, you know, another one that I want to point out is this wisdom from a Navajo sheep herder. Because Harvey Leak, who lives in Phoenix and also comes up here on the weekends and so forth, is a descendant of the Wetherells. And the Wetherells, Richard Wetherell is the man who, with Charlie Marcos, who I believe was his brother-in-law, discovered Cliff Palace at Mesa Verde. They had a ranch in Mancos, Colorado, which is very close to where Mesa Verde is today. Yes. And when Harvey's, I think this was his grandmother, had with her husband a trading post at Oljalto, which is fairly close to Goulding's trading post near Monument Valley. She met a man who was a Navajo sheep herder, but a very wise man, and he would talk with her when he came into the trading post. And she started keeping a journal of the things that he was sharing with her. And so this literally is wisdom from a Navajo sheep herder. And I have a copy of Harvey's book. Harvey will, I think, have some copies available that day. And I have a copy of the book, and it really is a striking piece of historical publication. It really is very, very interesting. A lot of historical photographs in it as well.
You know, I grew up on a sheep ranch, so that's another one I'm going to need to go to.
You will have to read that, because really it applies, it is as pertinent today as it was when he was speaking to this woman who was the trader at El Jato. And so it really is, you know, human nature is not that different.
No.
A Navajo sheep herder in Monument Valley, or you and I sitting here on the grounds of Sharlot Hall Museum, human nature is pretty much the same. I think you would be not only touched by it, but I think that you would really find some things that would strike a note. It's really a very interesting book.
I'm looking forward to that, and I hope he does have some books with him.
Me too.
And the Arizona Rangers, now, they're different from the other group.
Yeah, the Arizona Rangers are not going to be able to appear.
Okay.
They have other obligations, unfortunately. When we put this together, it was very early in the process, so that we could get this out to everybody. But you know, we do have some noontime entertainment that ought to be quite interesting. I have no idea what they are planning, but
it should be fun then.
Anybody called the Prescott Regulators and their shady ladies has, you know, just who knows what's going to happen. I have it on good authority that scaffold may be involved, but I don't know that for a fact. So we'll just have to see what happens. And you know, when you register by calling 717-7755, and speaking probably to Crystal, who is the gal who most likely will be the person answering the phone to register you, you can also order a turkey lunch with all the fixings if you want to spend the day there, which we highly recommend. You can also order that. It's $9 extra, and where the farmers market is going on right across the parking lot in the morning from the library. So there are all kinds of opportunities to just spend the day, come early, and stay until the last presentation has been given, and just have a wonderful time with people who really have their heart set on entertaining people and really sharing the history that they enjoy so much themselves.
And I see that joy in you.
Oh.
You know, and I know you're famous for it.
Where else can I get a job? Where else can I walk around town looking like this?
You're famous for it. I remember when I first moved here, it's like, oh, Melissa Ruffner, and she does the tours.
Well, let me tell you, my children didn't always feel that way. When I first started walking around town in very subdued clothing compared to what I wear today or wear for the evening at the Arizona Review at the Oaks Opera House, it was like, oh no, that's my mother. I think that's my mother. And when the teachers would say, could your mother come and talk to the class, they would sit in the back of the class and act like they never saw me before in their lives. They were, you know, nobody was dressing up back then.
No.
In 1981, I was the only person going downtown with a big hat on, you know, saying, and over here we have, you know, and that kind of thing. And now, of course, a lot of people downtown do it. And a lot of people provide events and, you know, get involved in doing different things, and it's just really exciting to see that. But I really was sort of the troublemaker that started much of it, not all of it, but
the brainchild. The brainchild.
Well, I don't know if a brain was involved that much. I don't think I really thought that far ahead, but it's always been a lot of fun.
But you're obviously, you know, you're connected to history, and your outfit's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
And not too hot, you said?
No, this particular one is cotton. I do have silks and satins, and those things are not quite as cool.
No,
and
it's hard to wear.
Outfit that I used to wear was black, and I mean, it was just like stifling sometimes. I also found out that a feather boa in the summertime is this is why chickens don't go out in the sun, okay? Because a feather boa in the summertime is a little warmish. But I don't know that I'll be dressed exactly like this, but I will be in costume the day that we have the Living History event at Yavapai College, so people will, you know, find me easily. Although actually I shouldn't say that, because there'll be a number of people there who will probably be in some form of historic costumes.
You just took my question, because I was thinking, I bet there's going to be some other costumes there to view and look at.
Absolutely.
Might be kind of fun to, you know, like the Renaissance Fair. When you go to the Renaissance Fair, you dress up.
Absolutely.
It might be kind of fun to dress up and then go to the event.
Absolutely.
I think that would be fun.
People should do it. You bet.
I would encourage you to dress up if you got
Absolutely. Yes.
nice outfits, or if you sew, you know, make something and wear it, because I think that would kind of get you in the mood.
Absolutely.
I know that when I wear historical clothes, it makes me feel closer to that era.
Absolutely. And people who are dressed historically are very happy to share with you what character they're portraying, as in the case of the Prescott Regulators, or, you know, what era they're portraying. My grandmother was the first public school music teacher in the Arizona Territory, and she dressed beautifully. And so many of the photographs that I have of her are kind of the things that I try to emulate, because, and I have her jewelry, so I might as well.
So you've got a head start going on there since you've been here. You've got the history. You are the history.
The family's been here forever, not me.
Your lineage.
And that's true.
Your family has been here forever, so you're part of Prescott history.
Yep.
So what better person to be teaching us about it?
Well, thank you.
And you do still teach at the college.
I haven't been teaching at the college. I've been teaching at home, but this is something that I'm coordinating with the college.
Okay.
And you know, Yavapai College also does adventure trips. There'll be some coming up in the fall that I may be working with. And so you just never know where I'm going to pop up.
Well, right now we're in front of Sharlot Hall, the governor's mansion, right in close to downtown Prescott, and talking about an event that's going to happen August 2nd. And Melissa Ruffner is going to make history along with her friends that she's
they'll make history
to come and help with this event, because it's a group effort.
Yes, absolutely.
And you know, I know that you brainstormed it with Dennis Garvey, and he's a great person to brainstorm with. Of course, I have to say that because he does sponsor this show. And you know, I'm trying to get a few kudos in there. So thank you to Dennis for thinking with you about this event, because it sounds like a lot of fun. And are you going to have any presentations yourself? Is my question, because we didn't talk about that.
Only if somebody can't show up. I may step in and do something to fill in if someone can't show up. And let me give you an example. There's a little gal who is was a Harvey girl. And I spoke to her. She was one of the first people that I called when Dennis and I decided to do this event. And I said, could you come? And she said, if I'm still alive. So I'm checking with her from time to time to see, you know, and if she's up to it. I mean, she's 80-something now, but she was a Harvey girl, and so she may be there. But if, for instance, someone at the last moment comes down ill, or there's some type of a glitch, this is how I got started with the old Arizona Jamboree and now with the Arizona Review. Is I said, you know, if you have an instrument break or somebody falls down and you just need a few minutes of, hi, I'm Melissa Ruffner. Let me tell you a little bit about Prescott history. That's actually how I got started doing that little pre-show bit. And so if I have to step in, I certainly will, and you know, I can talk for hours about Prescott history. So that's not a problem. And hopefully I don't think that will happen, but I can if necessary.
Well, I don't think it'd be a bad thing.
No, it wouldn't be. But on the other hand, I'm going to be doing a lot of different things, making sure that everybody has what they need, the programs get started on time, introducing as many of the people as I can, making sure people get to the right rooms. There'll be a lot of things going on. And having done this type of thing, you know, I started the first book festival here at Sharlot Hall Museum, which they have discontinued and aren't doing anymore, but I ran it for 3 years. And you can't be the star of the show and the gopher, you know.
You're correct. That's true. That's true. There's so much to do behind the scenes.
It just doesn't work. So if I have to step in, I will, but not necessarily so.
But you'll be there as the host.
But my mother, I actually talked my mother into yes.
Really?
Now, it's not everybody who can call up their 88-year-old mother and say, will you work that day?
I love it.
And
that is great.
She has a wonderful slideshow on the history of Skull Valley. And she helped, with a number of other people, put together a publication. I think you can still buy it at Sharlot Hall Museum gift store. I think you can still buy it at the Chamber of Commerce. And it's a newspaper format, and it's called Forest and Grasslands. And it's a couple of different driving tours, one out Williamson Valley, one out through Walker and so forth, and one through Skull Valley. Both what you see today there and what was there historically. And so Mom's going to do, I called everybody. I'm not kidding. Did you think I was joking when I said I called everybody I knew?
You weren't kidding, were you?
I wasn't kidding.
So even Mom's going to do a slideshow. This is aging successfully. I love that. That's really exciting.
And you know, unless the Harvey girl shows up, she may be the oldest participant in that, but don't tell her that. She does not, you know, I can't take the senior discount until she does, so. We don't do that.
Okay.
She'll let people know when she needs to do that.
Well, we have
But
you have a beautiful poster that we'll be showing,
Yes.
you know, on the screen for everybody to see. It's very colorful, and you can see it around town.
Yep.
It's going to be in the Senior Center newsletter. It's going to be at the Jamboree or the Arizona Review.
Yes,
That's a little history, isn't
They
it?
can pick up information at the Arizona
Okay,
Review. We have a big table in the foyer there.
And then
in the
you can
lobby.
also call that 717-7755 number and get more information about this August 2nd very historic event, Living History, right here in Prescott, a nice collaborative effort with Yavapai College. Thank you very much, Melissa
my
Ruffner,
pleasure,
for
my
joining
pleasure.
us. It was very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I've heard so much about you.
We'll do it
It's
again.
I hope so.
All righty.
And thank you for joining us today on Senior Moment, the show for seniors to watch. If you want information about our show, please give Yavapai Center for Lifelong Learning a call. Crystal Erickson is our producer. You can reach her at 717-7607. She loves to hear from you. And also, you might have some questions about today's show, or you may have questions about future shows that you might want to hear about, like ideas. We're always open for ideas. And until next time, this is Senior Moment. Thanks for joining us.